I think of my job right now in my own business, I've got two things that I try and do. I want to bring in new business, new customers. That's what I focus most on. And the second thing that I do, that I focus on, is maximizing the average value of my customers. Right now, my top customer is at about $85,000. That's how much money they give me, and it will go up to $120K by the end of this year because they just signed up for a $50K program. My point is, I go out there and I get customers, and the second thing I do is I focus on how do I maximize the average value of my customers. These are the only two things that you should be focusing on. Everything else, you want to be outsourcing. Everything else, you want to be passing off to your team. Your team is there to support you in those two things. These are the only things that you should be doing. If you're not making as much money as you would like right now, I'll tell you why. It's because you're spending your time on all the wrong things. That's all it is. So what do you hire for first? Every single one of you, you know what I would really like? If you go home and you hire your own virtual assistant, I will guarantee you that you will start making more money in your business. I will guarantee it. Because right now you are spending your time, a lot of you, doing jobs that you could be outsourcing for about $2 per hour. If you want to make $1 million per year, how much do you need to be making per month? Does anyone know? It's about $84,000, which is about $2,600 per day. Now let's say that's your target, $2,600 per day, and you're willing to put in 10 hours per day because you're dedicated. That means every single hour of your time has to be worth $260. Anything that is not worth $260, you shouldn't be doing. That's how I look at everything in my business right now. I always look at, is this activity worth more than $2,000 per hour? That's where my kind of cutoff is right now. If it's not, I pass it off to someone else on my team. All right? You want to be doing the same thing. So the very first thing I want you to do is get your own virtual assistant. Now you can't tell me that you can't afford a virtual assistant. $2 per hour, 2-3 hours a day, part-time, that's $6 a day. Anyone can afford that. Now if you're wondering, how did I build my own phone team? People who pick up the phone and make sales for me all day, and they work on pure commission too. How did I build it? Do you want to see how I did that? And how you could possibly do it too? Let's go through it. What I did, I'm going to walk you through this. Basically, I send out an email to my list, and I did this around mid last year, I think. Somewhere around then. And you can do this too. You basically send out an email to your list and tell them, I'm hiring. I put that right there in the subject line so they can see it. I'm hiring, I've got this position available. If you want to know more details, click here, okay? So they go to this website where I outline exactly who I'm looking for. And let me read this out. I basically say, look, at the current time, I have one position available on my phone team offering a 6-figure annual salary for the right person who can get results. Okay, if they're good, the sky's the limit. What you need to do this role, obviously no fear of making calls. You have to have sales experience. Got to have Skype, and so on. So I'm describing exactly what I want. You're good with people, and you don't use high-pressure boiler room tactics. The asset in this business is relationship. It's the relationship with your list. And it's never static. It's either getting better or getting worse. You always want to be improving that relationship. One of the faster ways to damage that relationship is to hire people to be calling back your leads who, try and high pressure them into doing something, etc. Okay? I don't know if you guys have ever had that. You've ever picked up the phone and you got someone else on the other line and they're like trying to force you into doing something, and then you probably don't want to go and do business with them. All right? So I'm very careful about who I hire when it comes to interacting with my leads. All right? You're comfortable with working on pure commission. Ideally, you're already a customer of mine. I want them to believe in what I'm doing. So if they're already a paid customer, great. That's who I'm going to hire first. Basically, I say, look, this is a very important role. A lot of people depend on you to get results here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer you a trial. Tell them up front that you are going to offer them a trial task. Okay, so they have to know that. I'm basically going to give you some leads to call, and then you're going to make some calls, and based on your results, then I'm going to decide whether I hire you or not. Now, if you want to apply, send me an email. All right, so all you're going to do, you're going to set up an email account and get them to email you and say if they're interested. Now, you guys can't read this, and I can't even read that. But basically, it says, look, and this, by the way, this is what I do. I have them all email that account and tell me that they're interested, and then I have my assistant copy and paste this message back to them. Okay, this is an example of the kind of thing that I would outsource to a virtual assistant, copy paste. But basically it says, look, hi, this is Matt's assistant. What I want you to do, and I'm really regretting this, I thought it was actually quite a bit bigger. Pretend there was a customer, yeah, here it is. Pretend there was a customer that you called, that you're calling, and they're trying to buy this product. What would you say to them? I want you to call me on Skype now and leave a voice message. Okay, so I actually get them to call me on Skype, I don't pick up, and they leave a voice message. So all of these people do that, and then I go and listen to the voice message to see whether they have a good phone manner and so on. And then I tell them, look, if you made a $100 sale for me, what would you expect for a fair commission? Now, obviously, if they say, well, I'd like 50% or I'd like 60%, that's not going to work because I'm already paying my affiliates 50%. My margin is only 50% at most. All right? But if they say 20%, that's about in the region where I want it. Okay? So notice what we're doing. We're giving them one little trial here. And then what we do, of the ones who I like, okay, so we get maybe 25 applications. Of the ones that I like, I'm going to now follow back up with them. And I tell them in this email, again, you can't read it. And by the way, if you want to get these slides, just send me an email, mattlloydslides@gmail.com, and I'll send this to you so you can read it. But I tell them, look, I want you to I'm actually going to give you about 40 leads. Okay, I'm going to give you 40 leads, names, emails, phone numbers. I want you to call back these leads, show me some results, impress me, show me what you can do. And what I do is I use Google Docs. Does anyone here use Google Docs? You guys are all using that? When you start outsourcing all around the world, Google Docs is just incredibly, I use it all the time, okay? Because you can share a document in real time with someone else, and you can both be looking at that document, and you can choose who you want to be able to see that document. So right now I've got about 10 people who I give about 40 leads each. They each have their own Google Doc. They each have about 40 leads, and I say to them in this email that my assistant sends them, you've got 72 hours. Show me how many sales you can get. And I also tell them, leave notes on that spreadsheet. Leave notes so I can see what you're doing. Leave notes so I can see that you're actually calling back these people. And this is what happens. This is the Google Doc that I just shared with that person, okay? In the left column, it's name, email, phone number, country. That's what I put in. They each got 40 leads, 40 different leads. And the other column is first follow-up, second follow-up, third follow-up. I want that person to leave notes and tell me that they're actually making calls. 80% after 72 hours have done absolutely nothing. So what do? We get rid of those people. Okay, we say, okay, they're out. So now we've narrowed down like 20 down to maybe 5 or something like that. 20% have spreadsheets that look exactly like this. They're leaving notes. They're actually doing something. So now they have my attention. And then I'm going to follow up and I'm going to hire these people. And we're probably going to do another 1-month trial. So every one of you guys, you could be doing this too. Okay, you could hire people to come and make phone calls on your behalf, and you're going to pay them a percentage. If you're wondering what I pay, it's around like 20 to 30%. Okay, but that's how I did it. Now, if you do hire people to be calling back and making sales and pure commission, make sure that they are on the same side of the table as you. So in other words, Whenever you hire people to actually join your team and now they're full-time, I got this from Eben Pagan. Okay, Eben Pagan, $30 million per year, has about 80 people on his team, they're all virtual. And I started doing this too. Basically, you bring someone onto your team and you tell them, look, here's what I want you to do. At the end of every single day, I want you to send me an email. Spend no more than 5 minutes on this, but tell me, what did you get done today? What problems did you run into? Any challenges? And do you have any questions? It's going to take them about 3 minutes, but you will see who's good and who's not based on this. This allows you to monitor what they're doing. It takes 5 minutes per day, but it's just a great way for you to track.